The problem I faced in late June was that she announced she wouldn't recuse herself without checking with the FBI to see whether we had a view on it, but would accept my recommendation.
Should you have gone to her directly, not wait to be asked?
To my boss?
Sure.
Maybe, but I really don't think so, even in hindsight.
Well, this, some would say gift, is going to keep on giving. Former FBI Director James Comey responding to criticism about the handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation, calling out Loretta Lynch for her decision not to recuse herself. He argues that put the entire FBI in a no-win situation. But very hard. Former State Department spokesperson and Fox News analyst and Amos Snead, former press secretary for Senator Roy Blunt. Good day to both of you. Let's bring up the quote from NPR. Here it is, apparently an interview done last night. I saw this as a 500-year flood, so where is the manual? What do I do? Wow. It's the life of Job, Marie. I mean, it's just all these challenges befallen him, and what's he going to do about it? All of his answers seem to be in that same vein. Here are these challenges. We've never seen it before. What am I to do?
Well, Jim Comey is certainly not a perfect messenger, and there's a lot in his book and in his interviews for both Democrats and Republicans not to like. I totally agree, including the sort of sanctimonious tone he often takes. That being said, just because he's not a perfect messenger doesn't mean we shouldn't take what he says seriously, particularly his concerns about why he was fired, about the president's fitness for office. So I think in some ways we have to separate the two, because this media blitz that he's going on is, you know, not, I wouldn't say problematic, but it's mixed at best for both Democrats and Republicans.
Okay, everything is an attack. Amos, the more he talks, does he make a better argument, or does he look smaller?
Well, Bill, welcome back to the Comey circus. I think we're on, what, day 7, day 8? I don't know how long we're going to be here.
Probably
I think if
13 or 14.
13 or 14. We're right in the middle. I think, you know, if you look at how he carried himself before this book tour, that he was above the fray, that he wasn't going to get down in the weeds and play these political games, he's totally shot that. He's been on tour calling the president a mob boss, personal insults. He's turned himself basically into a political pundit, and I think it lessens his voice on the national stage, but we're going to hear a lot more about this the next few days. We're in the middle of it.
Don't you think it's relevant that he said he never told President Trump that his opposition was funding the dossier? That's kind of a critical thing. I mean, Marie, isn't it relevant that his wife voted for Hillary Clinton, and she's on camera saying that, and 3 or 4 of his daughters marched on the march in Washington the day after the inauguration? Do we not think that is significant to understanding the entire context from which he's coming?
Look, public servants are allowed to vote, and their families are allowed to vote, and they're allowed to donate money.
No, I want to be clear.
So,
I'm not suggesting they shouldn't, but to understand the entire story, don't you think that context is relevant here?
I think there's a lot of things that are relevant here. There's also a lot of things, quite frankly, that aren't relevant. And how Jim Comey handled the Hillary email investigation, which many Democrats are even angrier about after his interviews and some of the things he's admitted, how he felt like he needed to tell the American people that she was under investigation, but didn't feel like he had to tell the American people that Donald Trump was. How he handled a number of things, those are all questions that need to be answered, but the most important questions that will be answered are being tackled by Bob Mueller right now. So while this is an interesting media circus, the book just came out today officially, which is sort of shocking. We've been talking about it already for 4 or 5 days. What Bob Mueller is looking at is what matters here, not this media circus that Jim Comey's doing to try to sell books.
All right, one last thing. Chris Wecker writes a piece at foxnews.com, all right? He's a former FBI agent. Here's what he writes. Now his book renews the controversy to the detriment of nearly everyone but Jim Comey, who was clearly out to repair his tarnished reputation and mete out some payback for his dismissal by President Trump. How about that, Amos?
Hey, if you look at this, I mean, I think Marie brings up a great point. You know, Democrats blame Comey for Hillary Clinton not winning the White House, and now he's going to go make a fortune selling books to those same Democrats. So I think if you just look at this circus, I mean, who knows where it comes next. But it is amazing the issue you can find and the courage you can find on a book tour.
500-year flood. Amos, go ponder that, will you?